24/7 denk ich immer noch an dich. Heute bist du nicht mehr da, jetzt ist das Rampenlicht. Tausende von Narben hab ich nun in meinem Gesicht. Farbe in der Haut, ja diesen Schmerz, den hab nur ich.
I think we are different. Our love was so magnificent. I tried so hard to know as far I could ever go. I think I broke myself. I think I went through hell. 'Cause I tried our love, but your love was way above.
Du bist nicht mehr da und ich will, dass du weißt, ja die Liebe am Arsch und die Herzen sind kalt. Ja, ich bin heute allein und doch sag ich dir eins, gib das hier jetzt auf den Besitz.
And that's it. The slam is over. 6 ultramarathons in 6 months, done and dusted. 5 podiums, great memories made, great friends made. What's next? As it happened, I seen on Instagram a post where a lot of the Pegasus family had liked this page, and it was the Epona 100. So I just clicked like, and as it happened, I was the 100th person to like that post on Instagram, and I ended up winning a free entry into the race. But not before I answered a running related puzzle. So a bit of an update. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been suffering really bad with my attacks. For those of you new to the channel, I'm Lee. I'm an ultramarathon runner from South Wales. I have a rare brain condition called SUNA. Essentially, the brain sends the wrong signals to my face and I get electric shocks up through my face. I was medically discharged from the British Army and I've recently left British Gas. Now these attacks come in waves or bouts, and the last few weeks has been quite difficult. Now as you can imagine, that makes training and running very difficult. And some could say that it takes a little bit of extra for me to actually get out that door. Nonetheless, I've come up with a plan to run 100 miles next June 2024. In this video, I'm going to be taking you through how I produced my plan and how I plan to implement it moving forward. So looking at the plan, I've got 40 weeks until the race. Now, as I've just said, because of my brain condition, consistency for me has been non-existent. That is the number one key factor that I need to structure into my plan, is consistent weeks with consistent mileage. You can have everything else. If you don't have consistency, your plan is going to go to crap. How I plan to implement the consistency is alongside volume and frequency. As already stated, I haven't had a very good last couple of months because of my condition. Therefore, I need to build my base again. I need to start pretty much from the very bottom, for me personally. And that means 50k. And the first week's passed, and I've run 7.5k Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. I run 20k yesterday, and I'll do another 7.5k later. That incorporates a number of things. I've run 4 times this week, so that's consistency. The volume is also there because I'm starting at 50k. Now the intensity is where in these 8 weeks, these first 8 weeks, I need to keep the intensity low. Whilst I build the frequency and the consistency, the intensity needs to stay low in order for me to avoid injury, and also in order for me to build a base correctly. Now with my plans, I like to have a drop-off week, a deload week, whatever you like to call it. I like to do a 3-week build, for instance 50k, 60k, 70k, and then a drop-off. Now I know I can already hear it in the comments, but you're only supposed to increase your mileage by 10%. Yes, if you're a new runner, then increasing the mileage by 10% per week is going to give you optimal gains. If, like me, you've been running ultramarathons for 15 plus years, I can afford to skip that rule. Now, drop in the comments. If that's you, okay, and you've been running a long time, I know that I will be susceptible to these changes pretty quickly. 50k, 60k, 70k, and then drop off to 50k for a drop off week. I don't necessarily have to follow the 10% rule, because that would take me longer because of my previous muscle memory and my consistent mileage throughout the years of running. I can afford to make that decision. Now, I'm not saying this is good for you beginner runners, so that's where the 10% rule. As you can see from the plan that I'll put on the screen now, I am going to build to 100k weeks. Once I get to 100k weeks, my long run will be 40% of my weekly distance. Now this is something that I advocate to you guys if you're going to write your plans, that on your long runs on the weekend, especially if you're training for your first ultramarathon, you want to be putting your body through the most amount of mileage as you can, really. I like to use the 40% rule, whereby my long run is usually around 40%, and as you'll see from my training plan, one run is 40% and then the other is 15 to 20%. I like to double. Now sometime next year I will be attempting a marathon in every city. Now that's not going to take part in the whole year, that's going to start next year, and that collaborates quite nicely with my long runs that are over 40k. Another thing for me, I'm going to build to 100-mile weeks. Now I know this isn't for everyone yet. I'm going to see how my body responds. If it responds well, then I'm going to peak at that 100 miles for 5 weeks. If needs be, I can step it back, but that is the plan moving forward. Moving on to the long runs. Now, my long runs are going to be varied. I will ensure that some are flat, some are easy, some incorporate race pace, some are hilly, and some will be on the actual route. This year, I'm going to be doing a lot of cross training. I'm going to be making the most out of my new turbo trainer and signing up to Zwift. I think that's going to give me an edge in regards to my endurance. Also, I'm going to be focusing on my strength and conditioning. I will be documenting my training here on this channel, so click that subscribe, stay tuned, and there's going to be some reviews coming soon.